My name is Carina Gardner, and I'm what you would call a practical designer. If you're ready to create a life that you love, become an incredible force for good, and generate income while pursuing your dreams, this is the podcast for you. Welcome to Make and Design. Hey designers, today I am here with my good friend Stitched by Susan, and we've had her on the podcast before. I think you're going to really love what we're going to talk about today. Sometimes it's so nice to have a guest back because we have the ability to really dig further into the business. Welcome, Susan.
Thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here.
So, you're in a different place than you were when we first had you on the podcast, in that you are really digging into your business even more. I would love to know creatively what you're up to.
It really is a very interesting trajectory. I recently spoke in a closed group to a group of Amy Porterfields, and because I was doing that, I really dug into some numbers and some pie charts and fancy things like that. I knew that my quilting, so long arm quilting for clients, which is what I have done for a number of years, I knew that that had become a small part of my business, but I didn't know how tiny until I did that pie chart. 2.7% of my business is now quilting for clients, and the rest is basically in the online space and or teaching, traveling and physically teaching. So that was really enlightening to me and encouraging in many ways because that is what I've been growing toward. You know, you've experienced the same thing many crafters have. There's only so much time in the day. There's only so much your physical body can do. There's only so much you can earn per hour, right? Creating, making things. So the only way to make a decent living at it is to leverage that in some way. And my leverage has been to go with online and digital products. And it is going great guns. I'm having a great time doing it.
Do you feel any sadness at all at leaving the part of your business that's only 2.7%, which was the actual machine quilting for clients?
I don't, because the full circle that we've kind of turned is initially 10 or 12 years ago, I began machine quilting as a hobby. It brought me creative joy. Well, then gradually it became my business, right? And then I'm obligated to people and to quantity. Now it has come full circle and it's back to being my hobby and joy. So while it's still literally I quilt to produce some of my content, yet that is the part of it that I absolutely love and is so creative for me. So honestly, it's come full circle and it's not a bad thing. I very intentionally reserve time for doing things that are just play, taking on client quilts that have no YouTube episode intended, no, commitments at the other end, no need to record them, just for fun. And that keeps my creative juices flowing. So that 2.7% fulfills a real role in my business, but is also the part of it that is super fun and enjoyable to me.
It's so interesting because you and I kind of, I'm in the design space, but I think I would not be surprised if I was even less than that. I would say like 1.5% of my time is spent in design anymore. Design for my design businesses, I should say, because I'm still designing, right? I'm still for the current businesses, I still have to make logos for our business and workbooks and all of that stuff. So there's still design work, but design work for the sake of actual money is probably at 1.5, maybe even only 1% of my time and money at this point, which is interesting. I think the difference between you and me is I get sad about it sometimes. I will admit there's like a bittersweetness for me because I miss it so much. So I love to hear that you are still taking some clients and there is a fulfillment there that allows you to do that.
There is, and I see no signs of stopping that. Like, I do love doing that. And why else am I building a business other than to give myself the freedom to do the things I love to do? One of which is actual free motion quilting. So I always want to reserve some time in my day and my week for that just because it's fun.
Yeah. For people who don't know you, tell us about your digital products. Like, what are you really selling that's helping you build out this online business?
Oh gosh, that's a long question. How many hours have we got? No, just kidding. Basically, I have one signature on demand digital course, and I call it Free Motion Quilting. And this teaches a number of freehand designs. So there's no pattern and there's no marking. It's just I teach a number of designs, and what makes it kind of stand out is I teach my thought process, how I come up with those designs from the creative ideas I have, and how I make these repeatable, usable designs that work well. And so I teach through that. Students come out of it with a repertoire of designs and also the ability to create their own original quilting designs going forward. And that all relates to free motion quilting. New on my horizon in the next couple of months, I'm working on recording an even more basic course with the practical aspects of machine quilting. So things like knowing about batting and needles and tension and how to load the long arm and how to baste for the sit down machine and those sorts of things. So that's my two courses, and I don't think I'm going to go further anytime in the near future with courses. What I've done as a supporting role is I've also created a monthly subscription membership. So in that membership, there's ongoing new lessons every month. So as I have new ideas or I want to float new designs or I want to bring in guest teachers or talk about topics that were not really relevant to my free motion quilting class, but still might be of interest to quilters, that's where they go. So my members there then are constantly receiving this new input and ideas and creativity, and it's a bit of a community and a forum also to share. So
So
that's a
So
quick summary.
interesting though, because you really do have two models here, which is the digital course model, which is a one-off, and then you have the subscription model. What led you to both of those models?
The course was my first big effort. And of course, I didn't do it in a small way. I could have done smaller, more introductory courses. And if I was doing it again, I probably would. It was very much like jumping in at the deep end of the pool to produce something of this size. Technology is not my wheelhouse particularly. So it was a huge learning curve to literally get things recorded and transcribed and uploaded and all those things. So once I had that done, though, the subscription felt like a supporting role. It really did. There are more designs in my head. I'm always thinking up new designs and how am I going to share them? Is that course going to keep growing forever? That's not practical, right? So I keep the course the same and I just rinse and repeat, launching that course and walking students through it. And then new material, other ideas that I have, the membership feels like a good fit for it. And what I haven't even touched on yet that supports both of those is my YouTube channel. I do quite a lot of live streaming of exactly the same type of quilting that I have in the course and the membership. And so YouTube has become honestly my advertising and marketing front. That's just where I share and talk about what I'm doing and drop teasers and say, if you want more details, if you want to learn this design in depth, here's where you go. So YouTube has become kind of my marketing channel.
I was going to ask you that, and I would love for you to dive a little further because one of the number one things that creatives have issues with is marketing. They're nervous about it. They don't understand how to go about it, how to get eyeballs on their work or get people to understand what they're trying to do. I would love for you to talk a little bit more about why your choice was YouTube and what other channels you might be using.
Sure. YouTube came quite early. I think I was on YouTube and had a channel and in fact was live streaming before I ever built my course. So when I used it to talk about the course, it reached people. And the channel itself seems to really strike a chord with quilters because it's live streaming, because it's real time, because warts and all are included, thread breaks, tension issues, whatever. I don't edit those out. So people find the episodes super encouraging. They feel better about themselves. And also there's an opportunity to teach a little bit in there. Over the years, so it's just over 4 years since I first released my main course. Over those years, I've tried different marketing things. And what I've learned is because I'm a solopreneur, I now do have one assistant that works with me, but it was just too overwhelming, far too overwhelming for me to try to do all the things, to try to do Facebook and Instagram and shorts on YouTube and, right? And so I decided that since I already had that YouTube channel, it was already resonating with machine quilters, that I would double down on that instead of reaching for growth in other places because I can't do all the things and do them well. I simply can't. So YouTube worked well for me, and I've experimented with a few things. Last year in 2020, late 23 and early 24, I did a couple of my course launches. And what that means is it's a date when my course begins, all the students get enrolled at the same time, and I walk through it with them for 6 weeks. But prior to it, I do a month of launch, of promotion. Well, what I did with YouTube is went live every single day for 30 days leading up to that launch. Talk about eyeballs on my business. mean, that got views. And to me, that live appearance every day was easier than building reels for Instagram and Facebook. To someone else, it might be easier to build those reels because they can do it in advance and schedule them out. And maybe they don't like going live on camera, right? So pick the thing that works for you. I've not seen a lot of people using YouTube in this way, but it has worked beautifully for me and it fits me.
Yeah, I love that you like you're not worried about what other people are doing. You're more worried about how is the thing that you're doing going to work really well for you. And the fact that you're kind of like, you know what, all of these other things, I just don't have the bandwidth for them. I am going to just double down on this. What would be your advice to someone else who's trying to figure out how to do all the channels? Like, would you say really do just double down on one or maybe choose a couple? I mean, your experience is to double down in one, but as you kind of see other creative businesses, what are your thoughts?
I don't think there's one right way for sure. So to me, my first measuring stick is what feels good for me to do? Like what can I do the most often and not get tired of doing it, not get burnt out doing it? And for me, it is that showing up live. I find it easy to chat with people online to answer their questions. So that's easy for me. I find it much more difficult to, add music and edit the clips and, do the filming and all those things. To someone who's 25 years younger than me, that might come much more easily. And there is truth in, thinking through if you produce short videos, I call them reels, that's an Instagram branded thing, but basically short videos, short form. If you produce those, you can use them on multiple platforms. So in some senses, that's a more efficient way. It just is difficult for me. So I pretty strongly feel I only have so much bandwidth, and I'm better off spending that bandwidth intentionally in one place than cutting that bandwidth into 4 or 6 or 8 half measures. Do you know what I mean? Or quarter measures.
Yeah.
Better to do 1 or 2 things well than to do a half a dozen things halfway.
Yeah,
And
and
I'm,
and you're playing to your strengths, right?
yes,
Like so being live is authentic for you. It means you can not worry about the editing piece, which none of
yes,
us really like. But if you're a good editor, then you would play to your strengths and probably edit and pre-schedule, right?
exactly.
Yeah, it's so
So
fast.
my assistant that I do work with now, she does love editing. So as time goes on and I learn more about how to like she doesn't live near me, right? She's virtual. So as I learn better how to exchange information with her, that balance may shift. I may have more pre-edited material because that's what she loves doing. So you're exactly right. Play to your strengths. That's a great phrase.
Yeah, so good. Now, Susan, I would love people also to be able to head over to your podcast. So you did say you have this YouTube channel, but I also know you have a podcast, which, not everybody has a podcast. So we don't think of it as a social media channel, but I always do. I'm like the only one who probably thinks of it that way because it's another way that people can find you. Why the podcast when you're in a visual world?
Super question. And I definitely questioned that early on too. And once again, I think I blamed my husband for the YouTube channel. He's the podcast fella too. He's like, this is really fairly easy. And the truth is, it is so much easier now than it was even 10 years ago with the editing tools that are available to us now, with how easy it is to record and handle data on our devices. So much easier than it used to be. So it's not all that difficult to produce a podcast. And one of the beauties of it is it's mine. I own it. So if I want to talk about my course every single week for 6 weeks, that's up to me. I'm allowed to do that. No one's going to cut me off for doing that. My posts are not going to get squelched or not shown because I'm sounding repetitive or for whatever reason. And I won't go into the gory details, but I've had a few poor experiences on the social media platforms. Things like being, ticketed for what's the word I'm trying to find, Carina? It's totally gone. Like when you get marked, flagged for
Oh,
inappropriate content,
yeah,
and I'm like,
yes.
what? I'm talking about quilts, and I have no control over that. I've had my Facebook business page hacked multiple times in 24 hours. That is stressful and it is time consuming. And the thing is, I don't own it. So, ultimately I was able to resolve it, but some people can't. You and I both know people who've just lost their work. So that's one of the beauties of the podcast is it is my own. I write that script. I get to choose what is said on it. I get to choose when and how often. And I get to talk about the things that matter to me.
It's so interesting because I never think of, so in my mind, I think of podcast closer to being more like Instagram or YouTube, but actually the way you're describing it actually makes me realize it's a little bit more like an email list where you actually own it, right? So that's
Mhm.
kind of fascinating to me because I haven't really thought of it in that way. Of course, I podcast, but like I always think of it as like throwing something out into the void and hoping someone's gonna be able to find me, right? And I know you do yours in seasons. So talk a little bit about that because I think that because you do it that way, you actually save quite a bit of time and you get to choose the way you do things.
That has been an evolution of my podcast. So when I first began it, I dove in with an intention and a commitment to airing an episode every week. And I did that for 89 consecutive episodes. And I was quite proud of myself because the truth is, the percentage of podcasts that even release three is extremely tiny. If you release four, you're like automatically in the top 10% or something like that. Anyway, I did find though, near the end of that, again, I was still a solopreneur at that time and I simply couldn't do all the things, right? And so I tried to evaluate what things could I let go, what things are not providing a return right now in some way or another. And the podcast was the thing I chose to let go. That's almost 2 years ago. So it's been a long time since I've produced new episodes. However, fast forward to a couple of months ago, and I'm thinking, there's another way to approach this. It's not an all or nothing proposition. I don't have to say, I will forever produce a podcast every week. I can say, I'm going to produce a season of 20 episodes and then I'm going to take a break. And then I'll do another season of however many I want. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm doing this time. I'm producing a season of 20 episodes. They'll kind of be centered around a topic, and we'll see what the next season brings. I don't yet know.
What I am loving, and I think this is really good business mindset, and which I of course know about Susan, but for you guys listening, is the ability to pivot and make changes based on what needs to happen. I think sometimes we get a little stuck, like, oh, all podcasts are once a week, so therefore I have to do this exact thing. Or on YouTube, all videos are beautifully edited, and this is the thing that we have to do. But what you guys are hearing here is someone who has taken their business and been like, how can I use the marketing to fit my own lifestyle, how I want to do it, and make it work for my time limits? I would love for you to talk about like, do you think you were just born with that mindset? You kind of were like, you know what, I'm just going to change this up and I can take a break if I need to, and it's no big deal. Or do you think you had to come to that and be like, you know what, this is what I have to do. This is what is necessary for me in my business.
I was not born with it. I was I was not born with an entrepreneurial mindset either, I don't think, or at least I never saw evidence of it in my life. I was your stereotypical stay-at-home homeschooling mom till I was late in my 40s. And so again, I feel like I've kind of done this full circle. First, when I started seeing the opportunities that were open to me if I branched out into digital marketing, for example, then I'm just, drinking from a fire hose, learning all these things, all the things I can do. And I dive in, and of course I'm overwhelmed and just struggling to dog paddle above it all. And then I start reading some more, learning some more, following some mentors, and realizing, okay, I have to learn how to pivot. And a lot of that comes from really clarifying for myself why I'm doing this. So I'm 56 now, I'll be honest. So I'm in a different place in my life than someone who's maybe 29, right? And is exploring and whatever their reasons may be. My reasons are I do want a certain amount of security financially, but also time is massively important to me. My husband and I have a couple of grandbabies. We have four adult kids. We have lots of friends. We have a church that we're active in. So we want our lifestyle to have room for those things. So if I want that, then I have to build my business. I have to think about it a bit analytically and say, okay, what can I realistically do, but still keep maybe 2 days of the week non-business? Because I'm determined to do that. I want a life. I don't just want a job. I want a life. That's what I'm trying to build.
So amazing. You guys, I hope that you go check out what Susan's up to. I would love for Susan to give here for you her name of her podcast. You guys can go listen to it on iTunes, Spotify, anywhere you listen to podcasts, and then also her website. And maybe she could really talk a little bit about, Susan, are you cool with talking a little bit with what they can find on the website?
Sure. So, brand new website rolling out for 2025. We're pretty excited about that. Um, it is stitchedbysusan.com, super easy to find. Front and foremost, I think on my website, you'll see my mission is to help and to encourage and to teach other quilters to help them get over some of their roadblocks and to find joy in their quilting. So you're going to see a lot of information about places and ways that I can help you. And of course, my courses, my podcast, my membership. Again, all ways that I think I can be of service to other quilters. My podcast is called Measure Twice, Cut Once. I know that's not a new saying to us quilters, but um, it's just an opportunity for me to share some of the things that I've been learning. And I do have guests on my podcast as well. You'll be one of them. And they just come in and have other perspectives and other viewpoints, and of course, other experiences that they can share with my listeners too.
So amazing. You guys go check out Susan. We'll also have her information in the show notes if you want to go check her out. Susan, thank you so much for being here today and giving some really sound advice to those that are starting creative businesses. Thanks,
You are
guys.
so welcome.
Thanks, guys. And I hope I see you soon. Did you know you have access to more free design content, die cut files, and sewing patterns? Join our exclusive VIP group for free by going to designsuitecourses.com/free.